Here comes a new challenger!
Welcome to a much shorter video in which I basically go over the Miis. Now, I've already talked about the Miis in their own separate Smash analysis, etc. But I just want to talk about how I feel like the Miis could have been a little bit more. What do I mean by that? Well, we have 3 fighter types: Brawler, Sword Fighter, and Gunner. But I feel like we could have expanded upon that. Maybe have 3 more classes. So in this video, I'm just going to give like my opinions, my ideas of what those 3 would be, maybe a different take on the current 3 we have, right? So as an example, instead of like Gunner, we could have like a Mage archetype, right? And the Mage could be like a mix of, you know, mid and zoning, right? Whereas Gunner is like more zoning, incredibly good zoning, I might add. You know, the Mage could set up, you know, setups like putting a trap and you can be able to combo off the trap, a trap based like character, a character that would, you know, be unique in its own way. And mages themselves are generally sort of this generic type character in like RPGs and stuff like that, right? So having like a generic-ish moveset while still making it feel unique, I think could work in that sense, right? So for Brawler, for instance, how about a sort of stance-styled character, a counter-ish character? I know what you may be thinking. I'm thinking more like Tekken, alright? Basically a character that can move around their hurt box and is kind of more like suave about, you know, how they move and their motions. Basically they can dodge moves with their own body instead of being like this heavy rush down. It'd be more like Ryu Ken sort of footsie style, where they're not always in your face, they're always sort of keeping a distance, always whiff punishing. And the idea is that, like I said, they're more like a like karate type character, right? I don't really know how to describe it, but basically a Shodo, right? Like have a original Smash Shodo essentially, but instead of them having like obviously a quarter circle moves and stuff like that, they'd have like a Tatsu type move, they'd have a fireball, they'd have a Shoryuken. But like I feel like you could make that type of Mii archetype, and that sort of moveset can just be generalized, and obviously you'd have custom moves, so maybe you can have like a couple of counter type moves, right? Maybe you can have, you know, sort of like moves that are like meant to like bait and punish. So as an example, right, back in Smash 4, Captain Falcon had this side B where he sort of drifts back and then drifts forward, something like that, to that effect, something unique in that aspect. And then for the last one, you know, if we were to make like an alternative sword fighter, we could have like a much quicker like sword fighter, you know, wields like a smaller blade sort of thing, right? Maybe like a knife. Essentially the opposite to what Mii Sword Fighter is right now, because Mii Sword Fighter in Smash is very slow, right? You know, a lot of wind up to attacks. You have some quick poking moves like down tilt, right? And up tilt's pretty fast. But, you know, overall, I would say Mii Sword Fighter is a relatively slower character, especially, you know, ground movement speed. So having a faster swordsman with a smaller range could work theoretically, because they'd still have a disjoint to an extent, right? And obviously their attacks wouldn't be as strong, but the main idea is just sort of being this sort of quick, swift-like fighter that can just move around and do as they please. I think it'd be interesting to have something like that. You know, obviously when it comes to like sword fighters in Smash, generally a lot of them are slow, right? Some of them are not the fastest characters, of course, but I think it could definitely work, right? So having like a smaller, you know, disjoint, similar to Joker again, where Joker, you know, his knife moves are relatively still quick despite being a disjoint in, you know, that respect. So those are just some of my ideas, and if we want to go with like a unique one, definitely like a sports Mii could definitely work. But those are some ideas, just some brainstorming. And hey, I would love to hear your guys' opinions. What would you like to see as a unique type of Mii, right? Because obviously we only have 3 types, but having more wouldn't hurt, right? And I think it'd just be very unique, and maybe even some of these Miis could use custom moves of, you know, Smash 4 that were not brought back here. You know, I think it'd be cool and interesting. Like for instance, the Mage I mentioned earlier, imagine they had, you know, Heavenly Light from Palutena as an example, okay? As an example, that move sucked, but I'm just giving an example of what I mean. Okay, so with that all being said, please enjoy yourselves 1,000 subs before the end of the year, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.
I'm coming through, partner, we can do this right. You're the fire, I'm the wind tonight. Burning dread, haha, that's right.